Every week it's an adventure.
Technology is an interesting mistress. I don't know if it's the right word to use, but it's certainly interesting to play with. So, but we're here, we're live, and we're working, which is good.
And we never know from day to day what it is it's going to want and need from us, so we could actually communicate with each other and the world.
Indeed.
So today, Gary and I are wondering, have you found yourself feeling like, gosh, people are taking advantage of me? Oh, I give so much and I don't get very much back, and that you, whether you use the word or not, you might feel like a victim. And there's a number of reasons that that can happen in your life in general, and certainly in the dating world. And so today we're going to talk about self-sacrificing, because boy, if you do not look out for yourself first in the most healthy way, really all is lost. You just cannot self-sacrifice. It's not good.
Yes. Well, we'll get into that anyway, but I had so much to jump in, so I'll hold back. I'll wait till you do the full.
I watched your whole face. We both coach a lot of this with people, and it's really a great base place to start. So welcome to the newstreamingnetwork.com, WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcast #1 singles talk network. And this is Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry. Hi, Barry.
Hi, Christine.
So that we always talk about, figure out what you want and need first. Figure out what keeps you upright. Figure out what fills up your life for you, including other people, but what are your needs and wants? And if you do keep sacrificing your needs and wants, because that's usually what it is, even if your need and want is food and sleep and time and money, that if you're doing more for other people than you're getting back, often that doesn't end well for either of you, really.
Right. I mean, I want to preface this by saying that in my vernacular, sacrifice is a very positive thing when you're sacrificing for the greater good and making a big difference. And self-sacrifice can be a fine-tuned version of that, but really what we're talking about here is really self-victimization. It's really taking away our own power for the sake of somebody else, not in a good way, not in an additive way, not in a I'll do it for the greater good, but doing it because we think that's how we're going to get love.
Yeah, giving away your power. I think that's often how it would be looked at when my clients finally go, oh yeah, I see, I've been giving away my power. Because yes, for the greater good. I mean, you and I are rabid volunteers, and we love giving of our time and our energy and whatever else we give. And I've always been clear, and I will keep saying it out loud. I volunteer at places where I get more back than I can give. And generally it's 4 times back than I could ever give. And I give a lot and I get so much back. So that, and does it feel like a sacrifice? Yeah, it would be interesting to use that word, because it's sort of, sacrifice is like you're stabbing yourself, or you give away energy. For me, sacrifice feeling like you're giving away energy you don't have to give. You need to give from a full tank. I think when I talk to people and we get the analogy of your pool is not all the way full and the person you're with is not all the way full, and you keep trying to fill each other up or get them to fill you, and there's not a full pool that they're giving from. You want somebody who's got the pool and the jacuzzi and an unlimited amount of water coming out of their hose, and that's the person that you want to. Oh yeah, could you give me some of that? And I'll give you some of that. But it doesn't deplete you. You aren't exhausted in any way, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially. That's the problem that happens in the self-sacrificing that we're talking about. And that most people at some point, if they're really acknowledging it, start feeling like a victim. How would you not, when you feel like you're just getting sucked dry and nothing's coming back?
There's so many ways I could jump in on this. It's like, which one do I pick? So let me say one thing first off back, which is, I think for everybody who wants to be in a relationship who's a healthy person, who's single, because I work a lot with singles, that's my focus, is really want to be with somebody where you can give from your overflow. Meaning you fill up your battery first, like you're saying with the water, so I say with the battery. It's like you give from your battery when it's full rather when it's depleted. It's like, I know, for example, I can connect my phone to my watch and it'll charge my watch up. But if my phone's depleted, it doesn't benefit my watch anymore if I can't use my phone. So it's that way in relationship too, is when you give from lack, especially if you're giving because you think you get something back, it's so depleting. And just to speak from the volunteer thing for a moment, I shared just a few months ago now, where I quit volunteering on the Saturday places to volunteer with a food donation. Even though the cause was great, it was worthy to do it, I was feeling so abused for my time and being I won't say victimized because I didn't get that happen, but I felt myself being ignored for my input and for my additive value to what I was doing. And I've been there for 2.5 years, 3 years doing this. And I finally said, you know what, I can't do this anymore because it's not serving me to be abused when I'm giving of my time. And now I've been volunteering with an organization for about the last 3 or 4 months that I love doing because it's very supportive. We play, we have a lot of fun together, and they take input, which is one of the things I love to do, is contribute my ideas and thoughts that can make things better. But I have spent a lot of my life in relationships early on, which is why this is so close to my heart, being the one that I will give and give and give till I finally have to give up. And that's the challenge of being in a relationship when you're in a place where you are in self-sacrifice, is you too tend to be finding that you're giving away, hoping the other person is going to change, give back to you. But the truth is that you're feeding almost like an unending hunger. And so you end up having to give up because you can't keep giving till you're burnt out. I mean, been there, done that. So just word from the experience I've had, don't do what I did.
Do what I say. And what you're doing now.
In that context, yes.
I've moved from a couple of volunteer places because it was the same thing that, gosh, I have this gift and I see people and I see things and I'd be so happy to tell you. And first, I want to hear more about it. And generally what would happen is I'd say, I'm not critical because I don't know enough. I want to learn. And they would receive it as criticism. And so then there was no way they were going to listen. And so what I've learned in all my relationships, my volunteer, my friends, my loves, is what I like giving. Is that the kind of thing you like getting? Does that work for you? Because this is something I really like giving. And I really want to have somebody in my life that values that I like giving this. I like giving my thoughts. I like giving my opinions. It doesn't have to be my way or the highway, but it's important to me to have you listen and consider, as I will listen and consider to you. And when I've now learned to say it that way in these last few years, it's really clear when they can't. And you go, oh, okay, I get that. Or the ones who think they maybe could, so we'll try it out. And sometimes they can and sometimes they can't. And then I want to know what their thing is. What is it that you like giving? And is it something that I would be excited to get, or I'm happy to get? It's not a big deal. How much of a reward do you need back? But I think could be part of the measuring, that even when you do have something wonderful to give, if you're giving it to the place that doesn't want it or doesn't value it or pushes back, then it feels even more draining, because it feels wonderful to give it out when somebody appreciates it. But if you give it out and it's not taken in or appreciated, then I just feel like that was a big drain.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, to be generous is a wonderful thing to have in your heart when you want to do something, be a service or with a partner, be generous to your partner and love them and really have a great time serving them in that sense. However, when we think that we need to give to get what we want, that's the trap. If the reality is, because we think that the only way we're going to get what we want is if we give a certain amount. Now, yes, it's ideal that both partners give to each other, as you talked about earlier. True, like, with the pause and fill up and being able to give them the overflow. The trick is, or the lesson is, first of all, we talked about this before many times in our talks about having a conversation, communicating with each other. So you say, I feel like that I'm giving more than I'm receiving, or there's an imbalance in the relationship, or something else going on. And this is actually one of the solutions we're talking about here. But the challenge is that we fall into this, I would almost say it's almost like we unconsciously fall into this trap because we don't necessarily go up from the beginning starting this way, but incrementally we get more and more caught up in the pattern where we give and give and give and give and give, without realizing that we're stretching ourselves so thin that we don't get anything back for it. And that's where the victimization comes in, because we actually, as I said in the way earlier, we tend to self-victimize because we don't realize we're doing it. The other person isn't making us do it, usually. Just a caveat on that one.
Usually. It's not that we're locked in a basement and threatened with no food if we don't do this. That's
a different conversation that we're going to have today.
But I think some people feel that way. Sometimes they feel backed into a corner. And is it self-imposed or is it from the other person? Yeah.
Yeah. And so recognition that you're not locked into the basement, hopefully. If you're watching that podcast and you're in that situation, that's a very strange one. But no, what I was attempting to make, as I crap myself up, is the reality of the relationship is such that it sometimes feels like we have this set of scales we think we've got to balance. That if we're giving up on this side, the other person will give back on the other side. But if they're not on the same scales you're on, the other thing is also is, if you didn't communicate, you don't have the same set of scales you're balancing on. So you end up giving way more than you expected because they don't know that they have to give on their side as well. So it's a dance we have, basically. It's not, and the other thing is also, this is the other part, is the challenge we have. This thing is, we have this assumption that our partner is telepathic. And so they should know what we want without having just to tell them. No, tell them.
Or doesn't everybody knows this? Everybody knows this. Everybody knows to do this back. Everybody knows this way to behave.
Right.
No. And if they do, it'd be good to find out, is this your way of looking at that? Yes or no? Yes, great, we're on the same page. But lots of people give back in really different ways. They want to give out in different ways. They want to receive in different ways. They want to tell you they received in different ways. One of the things, I was listening to one of our lovely Allison Armstrong's thing the other day, and she goes, the way to know that a man appreciates something you did is he uses it. So if you make him a sandwich and he eats it, he appreciated it. He might not remember to say thank you. If you haven't said, boy, thank you is really important to me, then he probably will say it. But if you haven't said that, he won't automatically say it. But he's going to eat the sandwich and he liked it. And so, no, he said thank you by eating the sandwich. And it was such a good point, because it is something that I've so observed and so confirmed about men and love teaching to women. So if you just have different ways of receiving and giving back your thank you for receiving, and you go, oh, it's different than me. And is that okay? Is that okay that I like to cook and I like that they like to eat? And do I really, really need a thank you? If I really need it, I need to say. And if I don't, and it's good enough that everybody just cleaned their plates, then we move on. But this should already know what I need and want, and should just know the right way to behave, gets us a trap. And then I hear lots of people feeling very victimized. I give and give and give, and they never do this. And you and I both go, yeah, hand to forehead.
Yeah.
Did you tell him? I shouldn't have to tell him. But how's that working for you? Now we sound like Dr. Phil. How is that working for you? Are you getting your appreciation? Why do I have to keep telling them? Why do I have to train them? Why do I have to be their mother? I had that conversation 2 days ago with a new person. I don't want to be their mother. So my thing to her was, well, tell me the things that you already mentioned, but let's just put them in a list of that you like. What are the things that you said you like? And then there's this thing. I get there's this thing. And you'd like him to do this thing differently. Please tell him. And you might have to tell him a couple of times. Really? Yeah. But he's already doing these good things. So keep saying about the good things and then tell him the other thing that you'd like. Out loud, this would make me so happy. Oh, she groused about it for a little while, and then she said she would give it a try. But we start feeling very victimized when we're not getting what we want, even if we haven't asked.
Yeah, this telepathy thing is it is unfortunately such a unspoken assumed role or skill in relationships that nobody really brings. I mean, yes, you have things where you become so tuned in, you can become very connected to each other. That's true. But the telepathic communication piece, it's more about intuition, which is a little different animal than the other one. But when we assume, bad mistake as we talked about before, that the other person should know what we're thinking, what we're feeling, without having to tell them, because if they really loved us, they would know. That's the other thing we tell ourselves, which is bullshit. Sorry. Then we become really judgmental, presumptive, judging and blaming the other person for not doing what they didn't know they needed to do. When you think about it clinically, it's very silly to think it that way, but we tend to make this whole assumption up, this rule about, well, if they love me, they would do this, this, and this. Whereas, like you said, if you simply told them what you wanted, and yes, maybe it happens, it needs to be said a couple of times so it sticks in their memory, but then start doing it, isn't that worth it then? Because then you get what you want.
And the other side of the coin is they do something you didn't know, they don't know they're not supposed to do. That's right. Can be even harder, because then it's after the fact and they can't do anything about it. It's because if they didn't do something, they might still be able to do it. But if they didn't do something, or they did something you didn't want them to do, they can't go back and undo that. That's really, it's such a hard thing for men. And one of the things you men do too, because the women will say, well, how come he doesn't know it? And I said, I'll tell you, if I could beam it to him, if they really could read our minds and I could connect, I could charge even more money. I said, but what I've learned from you lovely men is you work hard at trying to figure out what we like too. And then you give it to us. And then you're like, well, why didn't she like that? Because you didn't check it out either. So it's really funny how the other day somebody said to me on one of my regular Zoom things, I think you're extra positive about men. And I said, really, tell me why. Well, you keep giving them grace. She didn't say make excuses. I expect that. You keep giving them grace. And I said, okay, what would you like me to do? And the whole screen's all full of all these guys. Well, tell me the things that we have an upset thing about them. I said, okay. I said, let me look at this, guys. And they all were like, yeah, I do that. Yeah, I do that. And yeah, I interrupt all the time. Yeah, I'm learning, but I interrupt all the time. Yeah, I do try to figure stuff out, and I do it, and it doesn't work out well. And she went, oh, okay. She felt better. But it's both of us do often the same thing, little differently. But if we both would just start saying, boy, I'm feeling really neglected. I really am needing more time. I need you to spend time with me. And this is the kind of time I really need. And how can you fit me in that? You're doing golf and you like sports and you have your work, but this is how much time I need a day. And so I've had that conversation. They go, oh, yeah, we could do that. And then I said, what do you need from me? For you to know that this is how much time I can give you a day, and that you're going to be ready when I say this, because you've made the commitment too, and that I'll be ready when we've made the commitment too. Okay. And it solves so many problems of the kind of stuff that I did until my 30s, because I felt like a victim a lot of the time up to my 30s.
I've shared before in conversation about being the white knight when I was younger. That was one of the sort of the roles I adopted, and started saving damsels in distress. They weren't all necessarily damsels, but that's the way I treated them. And that was the way I had it sort of in my head, thinking that's the chivalrous thing to do, to be the man and everything else. The reality was, though, I burnt out doing it. I said eventually I had to get rid of the license plate on my car because it said white knight on the car. I had to get rid of it because it was not my story anymore. Because I realized the pain of that, because being the white knight wasn't the hero, he was the heel. And it was that feeling of being used and abused and suffering basically to try and get what I wanted, but I couldn't get because I didn't tell them what I wanted. So I know this pain of not doing it the right way myself from years of experience, in quotes. But I just want to say that to underline what you said, though, because what you had on your Zoom call, which I think is great, is the fact that you had the ability for people, for both sides, to check and verify, to ask the question to find out if their perception was accurate or not, because we don't always know. We with bad habit, as we talked about many times in the show before, of making stuff up. We think what the other person's thinking is this, and it's not. We don't ask to find out what the truth is.
Nope, so often. And yes, of course, as we're getting ready to go to our break, I will say there are people that are looking to take advantage, both men and women. They want to get your money. They want to just have sex. They want to shatter your self-esteem. It's a small percentage when you think of how many people there are in the world. It's a lot of people, but it's a small percentage. It really is. If you think of how many people there really are, it's small. I forget, it was like 18% or something that really diagnose. I mean, you don't know everybody, but it's a small percentage of people that really are looking to turn people into victims. And that oftentimes, the thing I've always heard is that you volunteer often to be a victim. And so deciding, am I feeling like a victim in this? What's my part? What's my part in this? Am I with somebody who's really a terrible person, and why am I staying? Or am I taking things personally that aren't, and I should check this out? Am I doing too much and this person isn't capable of giving any more back, no matter how much I give to them? Often I hear this from parents with kids who are alcohol or drug addicted, that they just know there's going to be the right thing to do, the right thing to say, the right amount of money to give them. And then my conversations with recovered people say there's nothing somebody else could have ever done. There's no money, there's no time, there's no house, that is always, you have to just push me away, and I have to decide on my own, which I might not, that I'm going to do better. And and what's really interesting is I've heard both sides, the parent and the addict, feel very much a victim in the middle of that dance. But when the addict goes off and gets help on their own, they start feeling like not a victim anymore. It's really quite astounding to watch that happen.
Definitely. And we're going to cover more. I know we're going to take the break, so I'll hold my thoughts till after the break.
Yes, you're good at pausing.
Pause,
So
yes.
we're going to take a short break and have a recognition of our wonderful station that produces our shows and sends them out, the newstreamingnetwork.com. But if any of this has sounded like you and you're like, oh my gosh, I really do need to talk to somebody about this, because I'd like to become a recovered victim person, a recovered self-sacrificing person, then the way to reach me is to go to my website, which is www.theperfectcatch.com. Scroll to the middle of the page and click on what's holding you back from love. Fill out my brief questionnaire. You'll have access to my online calendar, and you can make a complimentary conversation appointment with me on the phone or on Zoom. You can also send me an email at christine@theperfectcatch.com. And how would people contact you, Barry?
Well, similarly, people can reach me for a conversation as well. So you go to my website, which is barryselby.com. And at the top of the homepage of my website, there's a button you click on, which is let's have a conversation, let's have a chat. Click on the button, it goes to my calendar where you schedule a time, fill out answer some questions I have on a questionnaire. And then we have a Zoom call scheduled, basically a 20-minute chat to me and you to really navigate where you are and what you're looking for, and if I can help you with it. There's no requirement beyond that. It's simply a chance to have a conversation that we see where we are and you've got to work together. And if you want to send me an email, you can send me one at barry@selby.com, and we'll tell you about all the rest of our stuff at the end of the show.
Our stuff. So we'll just take a short break and we'll be right back with Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry, talking today about self-sacrifice for a partner makes you a victim every time.
See you in a moment.
Hi there. Welcome back to Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry. And today we're talking about how self-sacrifice, especially for a partner, can make you a victim. For all friends and family and children and work. It's so often what Barry and I talk about here, which is generally about how to create and how to get into and create a romantic relationship eventually in your life, applies to so many areas of your life. And I think this is one of those where lots of people feel victimized by their family and their work. And I think it's one of the big reasons people feel jaded about dating, because they felt like they've been betrayed, they've been let down, they've been unappreciated, they've sacrificed themselves for somebody, and they didn't get back as much, or they felt taken advantage of. And that this is also where you learn to have really good boundaries for yourself first. How am I going to get enough food and sleep and activity and friend time? So that this is how you fill up. That when we started in the beginning, we talked about how you need to fill up your battery or your gas tank in your body or your pool, so that you now have overflowing to give out. That often people will say, well, when I meet them, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to start walking more, or I'm going to go do social things. And it's essential, it's imperative that you fill yourself up first. Oh my gosh, Barry and I cannot stress that enough.
Yeah, it's funny because the thing also is that, and I see this happen on dating profiles. I'm on dating apps, so I notice it myself, is people put up there like all things that they do. And I wonder how many things they actually really do, or they're going to wait till they meet their person before they do them. So it's that point, what you said. I mean, it's hysterical. I know for myself, like I've been starting hiking actually before the pandemic, because that was the motivation to get out of the house. But it's become a regular thing. I do it 6 days a week now. Every morning when I get up, after my morning like meditation, everything else, go out hiking before my day starts. And it's like I don't want to give that up for anybody. So it is something that if I'm with in a relationship partner, that first thing in the morning is exercise. We got to go and do something just to get the day started, get our blood flowing, and just be woke up for the day. And I want to keep doing that forever. And if somebody shows up, come join me doing that. That'd be much easier. But it isn't. It is the thing where I used to have that belief, like I'll get in shape when she shows up. Like, no, that's not good. Again, back to victimhood. But I want to speak to one thing though, about victimhood, because being a victim, I'm going to say this carefully, in most cases is a choice. Yes, there are cases where if you're a kid and you're abused by parents or sort of raped or anything like that where you're a victim of that, I understand totally. There's a different conversation, and I feel for you, and we can talk about it separately. But in this context of choosing to be a victim by sacrificing yourself for the other person, there are things I want to talk about. Is there's three perspectives to look at from, which will shift you out of the victim role. Because if we feel like a victim because we didn't get what we wanted in a relationship, we didn't give the way we wanted to, didn't receive what we wanted back, there's a few things to think about. One of the things is that we actually created the situation because we didn't tell them what we wanted, like we talked about earlier. So we assumed they would give it back to us. They didn't do it. Well, that's basically, we made ourselves a victim of that because we didn't actually talk about it. So we created the situation. That was our responsibility. We messed it up. Tough luck. The second one is we promoted the idea, is we may have not said anything to them. Maybe we thought if we did a certain thing a certain way, they would guess what it was. You know that experience? Been there, done it myself. I know the feeling, and you do too.
Oh, I was a professional at that in my first marriage. Oh my gosh.
But that's what we do, is we don't actually come out clearly and state something. So we'll hint, we'll nudge, we'll, just kind of like go about something that, and the other person has to guess what we're thinking, which is ridiculous. The third level, though, is basically where we put up with it. We don't do anything. We don't even think about it. And then we start going, how did they screwed me over. They didn't get back what I wanted. So the truth is that all three of those layers, which I sort of abbreviate to like create, promote, and allow, are three stages of self victimization. We create the situation ourselves. And if we change any one of those three, we can change our relationship to what's happening, and we stop being a victim to what's happening. So there are ways out of this, to state very clearly. And as we're talking about at the front, the front end, don't even sacrifice at the beginning, be up front and talk about it. The truth is, once we're in the situation, how do you get out of it? Well, there are ways out of it as well.
Yes. So the day that I finally said, all these same kind of men keep showing up, I wonder if it has something to do with me, was such a turning point, because I could do something about me, because they were so content who they were. Yep. The other thing that I've learned is that when I finally learned to start asking, then I needed to verify, okay, this is what I need. Is that something you could do? Because there were times when they'd say no, and it was really good to know no right away, no matter how much hinting or how much nice I was, how much I gave, it wasn't going to happen. I go, well, that's really good to know right away. And then if they did say yes, I now learned the next question. It took me a little longer to learn that question. Is there something you need from me to make sure I get this? Because it's really important I get this.
Yeah.
So do you need he needed a reminder. There was one that needed the reminder. There was another one that said, could you give me more details about that? So taking out the trash means, oh, you want another bag put in. Oh, and you need these put here. Oh, so could I do that? Yeah, I could do that. But otherwise, I'd be like, well, the trash can's still out and there's not a bag in there. And what a lazy butt. And doesn't everybody know that? My first husband got all of that crap in my head and sometimes out of my mouth. So when I finally learned to say, what do I like? This is what would make me happy. Is that something that works for you? And then they'd say yes or no. If they said yes, I'd say, and is there anything? And they'd go, what a great question. Nobody had ever asked, because I didn't know that question. It was so fun. And then they would do the same thing. This is what I need. Yes or no. If I said yes, is there, and they started learning, is there something, I'm like, I like being asked back that question. I thought it would feel good, but boy, to have somebody ask me that question back, that you're here to support me, giving you something that would make you happy. And then you're going to say, thanks for doing it. It was like, it just kept up, the drain that happened. And oh my God, they don't know how to take out the trash. What is wrong with them? The up-leveling that was like, they put the bag in there and they put the trash back and they even cleaned. He said, well, I noticed there was stuff, that got, and he cleaned it with that. And even I'm like, so I could give a whole ticker tape, but I have to tell you, Barry, it was eye-opening. And it's so funny, the moo I get in the beginning when I teach this, especially to women, and they're like, oh my God, I don't want to be their mother. And I really will say that wasn't one of my things. I had a lot of other resistant things, but I'm so used to this now. I go, well, would you like this? Would you like to have this? And I'm sorry his mother didn't teach him this. It would have been nice if she did. And you're not being his mother. You're being somebody that you don't want to be his mother because he doesn't want to have sex with his mother. And wouldn't you like it that he's going to really want to do this for you, but he won't know that if you don't tell him and say, this will make me happy, and then say, thank you. It was eye-opening when I learned this. And then I stopped feeling like a trash victim.
The other thing is, and I think it's wonderful, but also the thing I want to say underneath that is once we know how to do something, this is for men in general, I'm saying this, and maybe some men may resent me saying this, but the truth is when we learn how to do something, that we can be proud of doing it, even if it's something that our woman wants to do for her benefit, but we feel pride in doing it, we do tend to look beyond what it is to make it sure it's even better. We look for the refinements to put a bow on top, sort of thing. That's the thing I think a lot of men love doing, is because we feel like then we can make it more of a joy, and that means even more fun for the woman.
Thanks for pointing that out, because I have watched frequently the up leveling that happens. And then I'm more appreciative. And then it's like, well, what else could I do? Because you guys are this natural competitive personality. So how can I beat that? How can I beat the score? How can I do it even? I can do this job even better. And I'm going to get even more appreciated. And so ladies, use this. It's their natural testosterone of being really competitive, that they want to do something better. And if you give them parameters and then they expand on it, oh my gosh, it's remarkable. And this is what will help you stop feeling like a victim when you're not. And the other thing is, well, people say, well, what about when there's people that want you to be a victim? I will tell you, they will stand out like a spotlight. Because if you're thinking you're feeling like a victim with every little teeny weeny, which I did, every little teeny weeny thing hurt my feelings, and I felt so dismissed and uncared about until my 30s, and none of it really real. I made up lots of shit in my head. I decided I'm getting t-shirts that say we make up shit in our head. That when I stopped doing that, when I started turning that corner, it was amazing how the people who were really crappy people, I was like, well, that's a really crappy person. And that the majority of people like, oh, they just don't know yet. I'm going to ask them, could they do it this way? You know, I really need your help. I mean, even just service people. Oh my gosh, it's so nice. I really need your help. I don't know how to do this. Could you help me do this? And they're like, yeah. So, because I hear all these people who feel so victimized by AI and customer service people. And yeah, I think it's gone down a little, but I generally get very good response because I do this way. I go expecting them to say yes. And if they don't, I find the next person. So I never feel like a victim. It's really helpful. It's such a nice way to be a recovered one of those.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so I was speaking from illustration from my own experience. It's tempting sometimes to feel like a victim of technology. I know we've had that. That's something I've become aware of. But I've been using technology for so long now, I don't fall victim to it. Like the other day, last week actually, it was early last week. My phone did an update, which it does every so often. Like the software upload does overnight. But I forced it early because I want to see if it finished before I went to bed. And it got stuck in the middle of the update, and it wouldn't get out of it. And I was like, "Oh, it'd been waiting for like an hour." And I finally started. I forced restart it. It got stuck again. Fine. It was actually no. It was Friday. It was Friday because I was looking to make an appointment at the Apple Store at Genius Bar, and the first one I get was Monday. I was like, I can't go for a whole weekend without my phone. So I decided, okay, let me get creative, because the thing is that it's tempting to go, oh, I'm a victim of this. I can't get it done. It's going to be a problem. So I decided to go, because I'm in LA. I thought, well, let me look around. What Apple stores are open late? Because it was already like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and some of the Apple stores were already closed. But I saw that there were a couple of stores, one in Central City, one in the Grove, that were both open till 10. I went, I'm going to chance it. And it's funny because I got in my car and drove up there, and of course my phone isn't working, so I don't have navigation, so I know where everything is, thankfully. But still, that screen was blank. It's like, oh yeah, of course it's going to do that. So I went up to the Grove, to the Apple store there, and went and said, I don't know if it's possible or not, but I want to get into the Genius Bar because I can't really wait till Monday, give them a choice. Can you maybe help me with this? And they said, let me put you on the calendar. And basically in half an hour, they're working on my phone. I had to reset it back to the factory. And thankfully, because I have my phone set up, it does back up to the cloud. So even though it erased the phone completely, and it did install properly this time, because they couldn't get it to work either, it did a full reinstall. So basically, I went home with the phone not fully installed because I need to sync it with my computer. It was anyway. The bottom line is that every single step of the way that I couldn't do certain things, I knew what was next. I knew I just to be okay with it. And it was the part of me that I know is a lot more mature than when I first got an iPhone back in 2007. And so I recognize that sometimes when things don't go the way I want, and this is something I'm grateful I've learned the lesson of, because I realize how unimportant some things are, that I don't fall victim to like, oh, poor me, oh, I'm screwed up. I didn't get what I wanted, something wrong with this. It's like, no, what can I do to resolve it? And the thing was, it happened easier, faster, and cheaper than I expected. So when you choose to look at things from a how can I question rather than why doesn't it work, because that's a shift in consciousness right there, you might be amazed at how easy and how positive the results can be.
Oh, Barry, I love your story, because AI can't live with it, can't live without it, because it is always our reaction to everything
Yes.
is a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be to be hysterical because there's something hysterical happening. It's still a choice. But I feel so much more empowered and adult when I'm making a conscious choice about, how much am I going to let this upset me? What can I do that it won't upset me so much? What's my next action that I can do to go have? And then when you go, of course, they can't do it because it's really a problem. So that's good to know. I mean, the good news and bad news, it wasn't just you, but that way you still feel empowered. I think the victim part is the part where we feel disempowered. So when we keep going, I'm going to just keep doing something about it, and I'm going to choose not to fall apart, because falling apart is not going to get it fixed. Maybe I'll give myself 5 minutes and then I'm going to be done falling apart. Do that. But I think that's when we fall apart and we feel out of control. It's automatic victim. How would it not be? So adult, what a good adult decision you made. Very grown up.
Simple stuff.
I give myself lots of kudos when I make grown up decisions when it could be a whole different decision.
Oh yeah.
Wow, boy, did this time went faster than ever. I don't know how this still sat back so fast. Boy, if you have felt like you've been sacrificing for the wrong people or even trying with the right people, and you have felt like a victim or just drained in your life, or you're just not getting back with all the things you're giving out, we would really like to help you over that, because we're recovered of that. We did that, and we figured out how to cut it out and have much better, fuller lives now. And we'd love to help you have that too. So I'm going to send you to my website, which is theperfectcatch.com. And I came up with that name because first you learn to be that for you, the perfect catch for you. And then you'll attract your perfect catch in the other person. And at the very top of my website is my ebook that I would love for you to download. I'm getting really wonderful feedback from people who are finding it very valuable. You can hop around between the chapters with interesting subjects and different dating advice. If you go over to the side, you can join my mailing list. And every week you'll get our live podcast in your mailbox. And you can watch us on your own at your own time. And you'll find out all the things else that are going on in my life. I'd also like to have you sign up to have a conversation with me. You click on what's holding you back from love and talk about this is where you are and where you'd really like to be, or you just want to be in a different place, so that I have a little background before we talk. And then I promise when we talk, there's no obligation on the phone or Zoom, but I will absolutely hand you a tool. And then if we both decide that we'd like to speak more together, then we'll make that decision. If you go to the bottom of my screen, it's all my social media of Facebook and LinkedIn and Pinterest and YouTube and Instagram and Twitter. And if you go to the YouTube, I think it might be 400 today or 300. It might be 300 next week, but we're right at the peak of 300 now. It's very exciting to have so much information at your disposal that you can take advice from us and help you with your life. And you can send me an email at Christine@theperfectcatch.com. And how would people reach you, Barry?
Well, almost 300 is getting exciting.
It's very exciting. It's really gone fast.
Yeah, it has, definitely. So the way to reach me is go to my website, as I mentioned, which is my name, barryselby.com. If you want to get on my calendar, as I mentioned, you can go to hit the button at the top of the screen, which is Let's Have a Chat, which basically gives you a chance to get on my calendar, put out the questionnaire, which basically gives me some clarity about what it is you're working with, what's going on, how I can help you. We'll have a 20-minute Zoom call, and you'll leave with definitely some guidance and some tips. And if you want to work with me, we can talk about that too. At the bottom of my homepage on my website is the link to the opt-in to my email list. So you put your name and email in there, and you get an email from me every week. So as Christine sends out, I send out one as well every Friday, which has in it the replay of the show in video format, as well as some other things I'm working on. Some new things are brewing, so definitely want to be involved in that. At the middle of the screen of middle of the homepage of my website is the first of my 2 assessments. I created these quizzes for helping people to navigate where they are in a relationship. The first one, which is either you click on the button or you can go to barryselby.com/quiz, is your relationship readiness assessment. Basically, are you ready for a relationship? Simple enough. You answer the questions, give you some feedback. You'll get a email with basically a perspective on what I think you're going through and what's going on, with an invitation to reach out to you for more information, more support as well. The second one is not yet on my homepage. It should be there soon. It's being worked on by my web designer. But that basically is my self-relationship assessment. Basically, what's your relationship like with yourself? And if you want to go directly to that, you go to barryselby.com/self-quiz, because it's a self-assessment. That quiz is a much deeper quiz with 7 areas of review and reflection, and you'll then get an email from me with a link to a PDF you can download, which has all the information in your feedback, as well as also some next steps, some tips, and some keys you can use in your life right there. Again, with an invitation to reach out to me for more. Also on my website is my book, which has been out now for 13 years. It's been a bestseller for a long time. It's now in bookstores as well as being online. If you go to barryselby.com/book or click on the book in navigation, you can get my book there. And if you want to find out more about it before you buy, at the top of the page, there's a little audio track, which is an interview between two AI-generated book critics, I call them. They were AI voices that sound very posh and very, very wise that have reviewed my book. They actually have been, this AI tool did review my book. And they have this 12, 30-minute conversation that really breaks down how my book works, what it's about. So you can tell before you even buy it if it works for you. So do that as well. If you want to follow me on social media, under my name, Barry Selby, you find me on all major platforms. So I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, TikTok as well, back on there as well, and also YouTube. And on YouTube, same as Christine has, I have all the replays of our show up there, plus another 1,000 other videos of my own. So 1,500 videos, 1,000 videos, something like that. There's a lot out there. So you can definitely get a lot of content. Even see me with more hair, because that was back a while ago when I started doing videos on YouTube. Just for the fun of it. And you want to find me on YouTube, if you want to find me on Instagram or Threads, it's the real Barry Selby. And also you can send me an email at barry@barryselby.com.
And we're here live every week on Thursday at 1 o'clock Pacific and 4 o'clock Eastern. You can watch us and submit a question. We'll happily answer it online. And then if you want to watch us after on your devices, you can watch us on Roku or YouTube. You can watch our cute little faces. Or if you want to take us with you as a podcast, then what do they do, Barry?
You mean if they don't want to look at their cute faces? Oh, well.
Cute faces. Why would they not want to look at their cute faces?
Exactly. So if you want to listen to us only because maybe you can't watch the screen because you're out driving or you're shopping or something else, you can listen to us in your ear through your earbuds or however you listen to your podcast by going to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you listen to podcasts, and look for Let's Talk Dating, Christine and Barry. You find our podcast there. And basically you can binge listen if you want to and share it with your friends, as Christine will tell you.
And we will be back next week with another show of an interesting topic. And we would love for you to review us when you watch or listen and share it with friends. If you hear something you think, oh my God, my friend needs to hear this, please share it with them. And like us and subscribe.
And we will see you next week with a new episode for sure.
Bye.